Good morning, I'm Lottie Rayner and you're watching the Newsroom. The start of term has been an eventful few weeks. Just recently, the IPCC released a report outlining the critical and pressing need to address climate change. Scientists warn that increases over 1.5 degrees Celsius would have catastrophic effects on sea levels, biodiversity and air quality, which would radically threaten societal security. On the topic of emissions, the University of Exeter has outlined a new carbon reduction target, aiming to cut emissions by 50% by 2026. Furthermore, Exeter has launched a financial services apprenticeship in conjunction with JP Morgan. The programme is a 4-year course targeted at school leavers, allowing them to graduate not only without debt, but with several qualifications and a job at a prestigious bank. In local news, Exeter City Council have launched the Litter Police, a new initiative aiming to tackle Exeter's rubbish problem. Offenders may be charged with a hefty fine of up to £100. And finally, the UK's rail disruptions continue, with RMT launching further strikes on the South Western Railway service between the 23rd and 27th of October, followed by further Saturday walkouts until 24th of November. The issue around the role of guard on the trains remains the focus of the strikes. That is all from me for this episode of the Newsroom. Now over to our political correspondent, Talin.
Good morning, you're here with XTV News. Today, we're going to be discussing all things Brexit, Northern Ireland and the budget. I have in the studio with me today our political correspondent, Talin.
Hi there.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Good. So, first thing on the agenda today is Brexit. Now, it is a bit of a confusing political issue. So, for those of our viewers who need a bit of clarification, can you explain to me what the current situation is for Brexit negotiations?
Sure, so the situation is changing all the time, but currently both sides are at a stalemate, and it's over the Customs Union and Northern Ireland. And the issue is that Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland are in a customs union, and this is basically an institution which allows goods to be traded very easily as everyone follows the same rules.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But the situation is, as a consequence of Brexit, the whole of the UK must leave the customs union. That is one of the rules of Brexit. And the issue is that if Northern Ireland leave the customs union, that will mean that checks will have to be done at a border between the Republic and Northern Ireland. And that just can't happen due to the previous history between the two nations.
Yeah, so obviously that's going to be a bit of a problem. Have any solutions been brought forward to the table?
So there's currently one temporary solution that's been brought over by the EU side, and that is to have a backstop.
Okay, and can you explain to me what exactly is a backstop?
Yeah, so a backstop is basically an insurance policy. Both teams don't feel like they will be able to put a deal together on Northern Ireland by 2019. So a backstop is there to ensure that while England, Scotland and Wales leave the customs union, Northern Ireland will be able to stay in, and therefore there will not have to be checks done between the Republic and Northern Ireland when they're trading goods.
Okay, so in principle it sounds like an okay idea. Are there any problems with this backstop?
Actually, there are quite a few problems with the backstop. So one of the main issues for me is that it's a temporary issue, it's not long term, and one of the ideas that the EU side have come up with to fix this issue is a backstop to the backstop. Now, this is completely ridiculous because what they envisage is that the first backstop will end, the time will end, and therefore the second insurance policy will then come in to keep Northern Ireland in the customs union. Now, why don't they have one long backstop? I don't know, but that's the current situation. The second big issue is that Wales, England and Scotland will be out of the customs union, and we're all one nation with Northern Ireland, and therefore because Northern Ireland are still in the customs union, there will have to be a border between goods going from England, for example, to Northern Ireland, and that just can't be the case due to our constitution and the fact that we are one nation state.
So as you've explained, there's a lot of problems and it's a temporary solution. There needs to be something in place for a more long-term solution.
Yeah, definitely.
So talking of Northern Ireland, it's interesting. There's been a lot of coverage for the Northern Ireland issue in the news, and yet we haven't seen anything from the DUP in the media.
Yes, this is a good point. So in 2017, Theresa May didn't get enough MPs to have a majority government in the House of Commons, so she partnered up with DUP to make sure that she had enough numbers to pass through bills. This was a £1 billion deal, cost £15 per taxpayer, but since then we haven't heard anything from the DUP until recently.
Yeah, I've heard, that they abstained from a bill. Is that correct?
Yes, so this is true. In the House of Commons, there was an agricultural bill put forward by the opposition side, and the DUP abstained, meaning that the government may not have had enough votes to put down this bill.
And was this abstention successful? Did it work?
So no, it made absolutely no difference. The government was still able to put down the bill, so it didn't end up going through. But what this is a clear message from Arlene Foster to Theresa May that if Theresa May does not come up with a good deal on Northern Ireland and Brexit, that she will not hesitate to pull her support from the government.
So moving on from Brexit negotiations and Northern Ireland, the budget has recently been announced and it's due to take place on Monday the 29th of October. So, Talin, can we expect any surprises from the Chancellor?
Well, at the moment, all we can make is predictions, but I'm sure one of the big things Mr Hammond will bring up is the NHS funding. And it was pledged by the Conservatives that they would put forward £20 billion a year by 2023 towards the NHS, so actually a lot more than what Labour have pledged to do. And it will be very interesting to see how this is funded. I know that the Chancellor will probably use income tax revenues to fund this, but it will be intriguing to see if Mr Hammond decides to increase the basic and 40% tax rate to help fund this.
Okay. Yeah, so another issue that's going to be discussed is that of housing.
Yeah, so this is quite interesting because at the Conservative Party conference earlier this October, Theresa May said that she was going to abolish the cap on how much councils could borrow to help fund and supply housing in local areas. And this has been said to be costing £1 billion a year for the government, and it'll be nice to see where this comes from.
Yeah, so it's been a very busy 2 weeks in UK politics. Thank you for that and for keeping us up to date. Hope you enjoyed our news today, and we're now on to the sports.
Hello, my name is Ross Moore, and today we're at the Sports Centre to find out more about Korfball at the university. Korfball is said to have originated from Holland, and is said to be an interesting mix between netball and basketball. Let's go and find out more about it. Today we're here with Saskia from the Korfball Committee, who will hopefully tell us a bit more about this exotic sounding sport. So, Saskia, what do you study and what member of the committee are you?
I'm third year law and I'm the club captain, sorry.
Club captain?
Club captain.
Okay, that's great. So how did you get into Korfball? I mean, was it something that you picked up before you came to Exeter, or was something that you picked up solely at university?
So Korfball's kind of played mostly at unis at the moment, so that's what I picked up in my second year. I came to a taster session in Freshers and I was like, this is so fun, like, I love it. So that's why I joined.
Okay, perfect. So, I mean, I hope you don't mind me saying, but Korfball's not exactly, your typical run-of-the-mill sport. So it'd be great for our viewers watching this if you could tell us a little bit about what the sport's really about, like the rules and stuff like that.
So basically, Korfball is a mixed gender sport. So there's 4 boys and 4 girls on a team. It has a larger court than netball and basketball, and basically the same aim as like any other sport is to get as many balls in the hoop as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you talked about netball there. How would you say they compare the two different sports?
So netball is divided into like 3/3, but Korfball split in half.
Okay.
And there's a lot more movement. Like none of the players have a fixed position.
There's not like wing attack.
No.
Okay.
No, everybody is just like a player, and you have to be able to shoot and also be able to defend as well, because like every 2 goals you switch heads.
Okay.
Basically, yeah.
That's perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
that's really good. So, I mean, I don't know if this is exactly true, but when I looked into it, it said it could be an injury-prone type sport.
Yeah.
Obviously not to scare the viewers at home, But have you personally seen any injuries or known people to pick up injuries playing the sport?
I haven't seen any, but I've only been playing for a year. So, and I'm sure like as you get more competitive, the injuries probably get worse.
Okay. And is it like a very sport played throughout the world? Like, is it quite popular? Like, is it at the Olympics, for example?
It's not the Olympics yet, maybe soon it could be. But yeah, it's played across the world. Everyone plays it. And in the UK, we play it in England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland. So there's a team everywhere. It's the European champs at the moment. So
Wow, okay,
it
that's
does
amazing.
have quite
And is
a
that
big
on like
presence.
TV or anything like
Yeah,
that?
you can watch on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh, that's amazing. So yes, in regards to korfball at the university, at what level would you guys say? Like, if professionals up here and like amateur, like beginners is down here, where would you put yourself about that?
We're not professional.
Okay.
I'll say that. Yeah, and we have people that have never played before that start with us, like me. So we're definitely not professional, but we're getting there.
That's good. And who do you guys play? Like, are you in a Bucks type league equivalent to play other universities?
Yeah, so we're actually in two different kind of systems. One is the Southwest court, so we're playing that. And then Korfball is actually a butt sport, so we're hosting it this year, prelims, on the 24th of November if anyone wants to come.
That's amazing. That sounds great. I'm sure viewers will be very interested. Obviously people that are interested in watching this video, could you maybe just give us some details about your weekly schedule when it comes to like training sessions? You know, maybe the social aspect as well, because you know everybody likes good social. If you could just tell us a bit about that.
So we have two training sessions a week. One is on Thursday morning and one is on Friday night.
Okay.
And there's also matches that happen on the weekends. In terms of socials, we have one every couple of weeks. Last one was a social, but our next one coming is like celebrating Halloween. So yeah, there's a mix. There's enough for everyone.
So all of the people that are, you know, interested in doing it but aren't yet members, how do they sign up?
So what I'd say is you can try it. Definitely,
Okay.
like we're open door.
Just any training session?
Any training session you want to come to, come along, like say hey to one of us, that's great. But if you're keen and you want to sign up straight away, you can type in University of Exeter Korfball Club on Fixer, and our membership is up there as well.
And how much is it for the membership?
£80, but obviously by joining in like refreshes in January it'll be less.
Okay, perfect. Right, well that's enough questions. Let's get to training.
That was yours to get. You can't let your player get it. That's another goal. You could have defended that. You watched that happen. That goal is your fault. You've let the whole team down.
So, do you have any feedback on his work?
It's just, you can't even call it work, to be honest. Like, it's just a bit embarrassing at this point. Yeah, I'm trying to give some pointers, but it's not really going well. But we'll have to see. It's embarrassing for the club, to be honest. What can I do?
Come on!
So great session, guys. Like, thanks for coming today. Can't wait to see you at the social next week. Has anyone got any questions? Yep.
So do you think I'm good enough to be a Korfball member now?
No! You're shit!
I don't need this anyway. So as you can see, guys, Korfball's a great sport to get involved in, and all you have to do is go on the Fixer website to sign up. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.